nomi are those from Lazio Innova. The financial development projects of Lazio is in charge of supporting startups and innovative companies in all the life cycle of this company. Today is going to be our first day of Twist Workshop for Startup, and we are going to have an inspirational speech by Thibaut Rouffineau, who is actually coming from London, and will share with you his knowledge and his vision about how to set up a multinational. Well, how many of you know what is Lazio Innova? Well, not so many. So Lazio Innova is actually a new agency which has merged 6 agencies from Lazio region. And it's just to shrink costs, mainly, and also to aggregate competencies. And we want to do innovation in a different way. We want to do it in a smart way, and we want to do it together with young people, as you. But the directors people say, let's cambiamo passo. I would rather say, let's twist. And I'm going to share with you what is twist about. So, we are twisting our mindset. For the first one, we are asking to be hosted by a private partner. And Luca Vittori was so nice to be the first one in hosting this event. It's going to be the first one of a series of events on a monthly basis. We're going to provide you with inspirational speech from people living outside Rome and Italy and Israel. They are sharing with us what they're doing, how difficult it is, and how good it is. And Luca is actually head of the team working capital in Rome. And I would like him to give a presentation on what is team working capital doing and what they're looking for. He has a presentation in Italian. I think since all the way. How many do not speak Italian apart from both? I can be next to you. So allow Luca to speak in Italian because he will be much more to the point. Okay? Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Benvenuto a tutti, innanzitutto grazie Michela per l'introduzione. Working Capital, Telecomunale Working Capital non un po' sconosciuto in Italia. Nessuno sapeva che Telecomunale è un programma per la gestione e lo sviluppo delle start-up. Forse non lo sapeva.
Luca, così puoi andare avanti.
Grazie mille.
Prego.
Start-up peraltro è un esemplare delle nostre start-up del nostro acceleratore. Allora, progetto nato nel 2009.
No, a destra. Il pallino a destra. No, il pallino della corona. Il pallino della corona. Okay.
Siamo riusciti. Allora, è un progetto che sta andando avanti da qualche anno. La finalità è poco conosciuto anche in azienda. Naturalmente questi progetti poi ci sono ancora tempo di diventare abbastanza noti e soprattutto ben radicati nel mondo poi startup, in questi ecosistemi dove per male le cose poi evolvono in maniera molto rapida. Insomma è già poco chiaro che stiamo lavorando in quest'ambito, selezionando, finanziando e accelerando startup. E cosa facciamo poi concretamente? Allora, dal 2009 sono successe molte cose, abbiamo cominciato a fare le prime selezioni, abbiamo cominciato a cercare un po' nel mondo dell'innovazione che cosa l'Equitare poteva fare. È nato un po' come un programma di comunicazione, di supporto all'innovazione dell'Equitare. Allora, infatti, probabilmente se investire in comunicazione, ci siamo resi conto di che cosa però? Non è uno scherzo quando si parla di startup, perché quando si parla di startup si parla di innovazione. Allora un'azienda come Telecomunale senza l'innovazione è morta. Ci siamo resi conto che fare innovazione con le start-up ha un vantaggio molto più grande, perché si può pensare se uno se la sviluppa in casa, perché le start-up portano delle idee alle quali noi stesso non pensiamo. E molte di queste idee vengono fuori. Come? Abbiamo creato 4 spazi, poi se quello di Roma, dall'acceleratore di Roma, abbiamo altri 3. Si parla di idee, si parla di innovazione, si parla di ricerca, si parla di bene. Poi queste idee, queste persone, dove vanno, hanno bisogno di uno spazio fisico. Noi siamo l'unica corporate, l'unica azienda a livello nazionale che ha uno spazio. Ci sono tanti acceleratori che voi conoscerete, io non giro dell'Italia, ovviamente non faccio pubblicità, ai nostri concorrenti, però ce ne sono naturalmente altri. Però per l'Unione è l'unica che ha il programma di accelerazione di spazi fisici dove le start-up vengono e lavorano. Tutti quanti siete passati nel nostro spazio, adesso sapete benissimo che cosa c'è. Stanze, aree di coworking, gente che cammina, si muove con il PC. Sono start-up, sono aziende, idee che sono diventate imprese che il sta finanziando. Poi vi racconterò che cosa vuol dire per poter gestire una start-up oggi. Cercherò di darvi pochi numeri, ma soprattutto fatti, perché poi se c'è qualche start-up, almeno abbiamo visto una call lo scorso di maggio. Però l'anno prossimo ne avremo un'altra, quindi non si sa mai che qualcuno deve essere entrato in questo progetto. Quindi 4 acceleratori, naturalmente copriamo tutta Italia, Milano, Bologna, Roma e Catania. Numeri, detto una parola maledetta, però i numeri sono questi. Cioè, senza considerare la nostra ultima call che si è chiusa adesso, l'11 di maggio, nella quale abbiamo ricevuto più di 1000 progetti. 1000 progetti. Nel corso
solo per Roma o per
tutte le date. Roma abbiamo ricevuto 300 a Milano, 200 qualche cosa a Bologna, poi più di 270, 280 su Roma e adesso succederà. Però 1000 progetti sono 1000 idee, sono 1000 start-up che conoscendoci hanno avuto la possibilità di inserire il loro progetto nel nostro sito. Questi sono i numeri senza considerare quello che è successo quindi fino allo scorso 11 maggio, cioè per di 7.000 progetti. Allora, guardate tutti questi numeri, la cosa più importante alla fine è questa. 21 start-up sono diventati fornitori dell'Unità. Ho avuto 6 situazioni, program, 21 this project became our partner. Vuol dire che loro possono vendere, queste start-up possono utilizzare le loro soluzioni e vendere le loro soluzioni direttamente sui nostri clienti, tramite le nostre forze commerciali. Allora, diventare una startup intercomunitaria vuol dire sia avere i soldi, vuol dire sia partecipare al programma di accelerazione. L'importante è che sempre il nostro obiettivo particolare è questo, cioè farti diventare un fornitore di reddito. Soldi danno il reddito, ma sempre dentro l'altro fornitore di reddito ci deve rimanere perché fa un colpo che in genere con un fornitore normale vuol dire mesi se non anni di qualifiche di documentazione perché non è vero che se c'è qualcosa che non mettiamo vado troppo veloce le cose non proposto tanto che mi è chiamata da vuol dire la disposizione circa 20 milioni di euro di avere a disposizione un call center che se poi importa la tua soluzione il 187 o il 191 risponde al call center per te. Vuol dire avere a disposizione, se sei del cliente del mercato, inclusive delle large imprese, lavorare in tutto il mondo, hai circa 2.000-2.500 da venditori e agenzie a disposizione. Cioè la tua soluzione, se ti ricordi, alle imprese che sono 2.500 indicati. È la rete di vendita di cosa che c'è indicati. Adesso non voglio fare, però è la verità, cioè mi sto dando dei numeri che sono quelli concreti. C'è anche chi dà più soldi, c'è anche chi dà la possibilità di entrare in certi mercati molto più specifici, noi mettiamo a disposizione la nostra azienda, la nostra forza è quella, cioè la struttura di mercato di clienti, poi ognuno sceglie sulla base delle proprie intenzioni, diciamo.
Ma la numero di euro si dà circa 20.000 euro a
25.000 euro a startup, sono 25.000 euro. Sono 25.000 euro che noi diamo, poi dopo racconto adesso non letterale, quindi non c'è problema. Noi ognuno selezioniamo 40 startup, 10 per ogni acceleratore, e ognuno abbiamo 25.000 euro. Quindi ogni startup è tutto detto che ha restituito 25.000 euro. E sono come? Lo spazio, ovviamente, per noi teniamo qua dentro, anzi, più stanno qua dentro, più ci fa piacere. Abbiamo delle startup che praticamente vivono con noi dalla mattina alla sera, lì c'è un esemplare che poi è un po' pazzo. Ecco perché ormai ci aiuta anche nelle presentazioni. Però vuol dire che al di là dei soldi, al di là del fatto che vivi qua dentro, c'è tutto questo. E poi mi vado sempre a focalizzare quando parliamo di queste cose su questo libro. Cioè, questo è carenza di mano, giusto? Oggi si sta parlando di previsione che sarà prossimo, quindi adesso noi abbiamo avuto giusto la cosa del 2011. Però questo è un programma che va avanti ogni anno e anno dopo anno noi stiamo diventando sempre più specifici nella nostra direzione di startup. Allora, Ora, poi si muove per esempio una delle startup che vi racconterà che cosa fanno. Però noi anno dopo anno ci stiamo rendendo conto, come vi raccontavo all'inizio, che fare innovazione per telecomunicare vuol dire andare a sviluppare delle soluzioni che devono andare sui clienti finali. Quindi noi abbiamo a fare le idee possibile di dare delle soluzioni da vendere tramite le nostre cose di vendita, altrimenti questo non serve. Cioè non è più il programma comunicazionale di beneficenza, sì, incrementiamo l'occupazione, eccetera, eccetera. Guarda, il nostro obiettivo è che quel signore da sotto diventi imprenditore. Quindi il nostro lavoro è far diventare l'idea di interesse. Domande? Andiamo verso la nostra call. Dicevo 40 premi da 25.000 euro. Che succede qua dentro? Allora, noi l'11 maggio abbiamo chiuso la call. È una gara che è stata pubblicizzata nelle nostre sezioni un mesetto e mezzo circa. Abbiamo selezionato dei progetti, stiamo selezionando, stiamo facendo in questi giorni le selezioni, fra qualche settimana andremo a fare la comunicazione dei vincitori. Ogni vincitore prenderà subito il pratica, 15.000 euro qualche mese, e negli altri 3 acceleratori a livello nazionale. Che faremo con questi ragazzi? Valuteremo il loro progetto di sviluppo, andremo a capire bene qual è la loro soluzione. Una volta selezionati cercheremo di accompagnarli all'impresa, cioè a farli diventare remunerativi per loro stessi. Perciò noi non vogliamo metterci in naso perché dai comunitari deve assolutamente poi trasformare questo lavoro, questa attività, questo interesse che notiamo in partecipazione alle loro capitali. Non sempre avviene questo, però avviene meglio per la startup. Perché? Perché durante i primi 4 mesi di accelerazione noi le startup ce le cresciamo qua dentro. Allora, spesso sono solamente a livello di idee, cioè sono proposte embrionali. Allora, la proposta embrionale deve diventare un progetto, il progetto deve diventare un'idea un po' più consistente, deve diventare una soluzione da vendere per poi diventare impresa. In questi primi 4 mesi abbiamo insegnato ad alzare il colpito dal punto di vista sia economico che di business. Di offerta, mercato di riferimento, soluzioni tecniche, capacità di svilupparla in un certo mercato piuttosto che in un altro. E poi succede, ci sono gli altri 8 mesi. Allora noi cominciamo già a capire le cose un po' durante i primi 4 mesi. Dopo i primi 4 mesi non dobbiamo dire bene, concentriamoci su questo, questo e questo. Perché nei mesi successivi, noi queste startup poi lo sapete perché le attendiamo da una avanzamento, test, verifiche, capacità di sviluppo, inconsistente, cioè c'è una serie di cose che noi consideriamo giorno per giorno. Ripeto, non è un programma di charity o supporto, qui devo fare il business, anche perché noi siamo misurati su questo. Allora, parlavamo delle cose veramente importanti. Abbiamo parlato di soldi, abbiamo parlato di accelerazione, sono termini un po' tecnici questi, però quali sono i programmi di accelerazione, i programmi di investimento per tutte le altre aziende o programmi di accelerazione startup? Cash, accelerazione, noi ci mettiamo queste 2 cose. Algo veloce, lo dicevo prima. Appena entri qua dentro, tu devi fare un contratto. Questo contratto dice che se tu diventi startup di livello d'Italia, dallo stesso giorno tu sei fornitore di livello d'Italia. Quindi vuol dire che dal giorno dopo, se c'è una business unit, anche di vendita, informazione tecnologica, personalmente bella la soluzione del professore delle classi. Vuoi provare a vendere sui miei clienti? Non può fare. Cioè, 2000 possono prendere questa soluzione e andare a vendere tutte le aziende che hanno dato del portafoglio di tanti milioni per vendere 20 milioni di mercato business. Chiaro che sto dicendo, cioè programmi di accelerazione ce ne sono molti. E l'unità è più civile è questo, cioè la possibilità di sfruttare le aziende, perché se tu sfrutti un'azienda, c'hai probabilmente un percorso un po' più veloce per diventare impresa. Basket innovazione, termine tecnico per dire che cosa? Che noi diamo anche i soldi come team, cioè noi con Working Capital, che poi è quello che gestisce questo programma di accelerazione, per facilitare il gruppo market di queste soluzioni, diciamo online, prendi questi soldi, mi dici dentro il tuo investimento, la metà lo mettiamo noi. Quindi è un altro strumento che diamo le linee commerciali per dire Prendi questa soluzione della startup che ti interessa, usala e vendila, usa tu direttamente. Dopo parlerete con una startup la cui soluzione ha il customer care utilizzato il nostro customer care dell'utente. Fondo di investimento, diamo accelerazione, diamo supporto, algo veloce, basta innovazione, alla fine ci mettiamo pure questo. Quindi l'idea diventa impresa, perché il nostro fondo di investimento ti dà la possibilità di, alla fine del percorso, se sei stato capace, se sei stato piano, eccetera, diciamo, guarda, ci crediamo così tanto, il te che ci sono soldi grossi, non si parla più di 25.000 euro, quindi sono un po' di milioni di euro a disposizione anno dopo anno, e cominciamo a dire, bene, cominciamo a vedere se sei in grado di crescere veramente, perché da diventare diventare social. E quindi diventare il capitale, se io sono capitale divento social. Allora, per diventare diventerà social, per esempio, il professor Venelas o di un'altra delle nostre start-up, lo sa, potrebbe succedere, ma se succede questo, vuol dire che dalla sera alla mattina tutti questi ragazzi che hanno la bella idea di diventare uno scantinato camminando per strada, si ritrovano dalla sera alla mattina, diciamo, con qualche mese, a diventare parte di belle unità, cioè delle unità del proprio andato.
Faccio che queste sono una startup che non potevano cliccare, o neanche una startup fate con investimenti, non fate con investimenti?
Noi naturalmente scopo di andare a fare investimenti, per cui abbiamo una parte, no? Cioè dall'idea di andare a focalizzare la nostra attività soprattutto sul quello che cresce sicuramente. Ma perché? Perché noi lo conosciamo. Allora, se noi c'è una bellissima idea fuori che vale la pena andare a provare, vale la pena andare a investire. Poi una persona che sta chiudendo la mattina alla sera, non solo valuta la sua idea, valuta la sua capacità, la sua professionalità, la sua propria imprenditore. Allora, se io
Quello sicuramente no, si parla di bilancio, non si parla più di idea, si parla di finanziamento di startup che sono, diciamo, che stanno già ingranando. Questo quello che fa il bilancio è investire non solo su quelle che sono le startup, ma su progetti, diciamo, che sono già lanciati, che loro vedono accedere per Google, questo volevano fare, ma anche se sono startup che magari vedete andare a diventare.
Noi preferiamo avere un percorso che è chiaro, che esiste, che non ha dubbi, perché noi diciamo fai una gara, partecipa a questa gara, se si selezioni in maniera trasparente perché ci sono questi criteri, non si scappa. Ci sono dei criteri e tu devi rispettare questi criteri. Se rispetti questi criteri entri qua dentro. Se il tipo dentro di l'alto, noi dobbiamo valutare chi sta qua dentro. Non dobbiamo avere, non si può dire, la capacità di poter dire, se seleziona una startup, devo selezionare una startup di conto. Tra l'altro si chiama team building, quindi è un fondo di investimento di conto al nostro mercato interno. Quindi la loro focalizzazione è sulle nostre startup. Poi domani, per le cose che sono in momentaneamente il focus del nostro conto è questo. Allora, diciamo che in una prima fase, il concetto che io direi, quando noi riportiamo qui dei soldi, facciamo lavorare, candidemmo per la tua soluzione meravigliosa che funziona per bene comunitario, non te la vai a vendere a poco. Perché è un po', come dire, poco carino, oltretutto, per far inventare impresa, non sarebbe venuto tanto oggi, no? Sfrutti e non so. Quindi diciamo, è una sorta di esclusiva che vale solamente in questo caso, però il nostro ideale, il nostro vantaggio è di cosa vogliamo di queste imprese e di queste startup di imprese. Più vedi, più siamo contenti. Quindi, a parte questi casi irrilevanti, se queste nostre startup hanno partner, fanno clienti, hanno possibilità di ingrandire il loro mercato, va bene, non facciamo altro che spingere, anzi, lo fanno. Quanti minuti mi sono rimasti? Pochissimi?
5.
5? A te ci vuole dispiacere troppo. L'anno prossimo, ricordarlo, per andare sempre verso maggio. Ok, allora, dicevo chiarezza, qui mi dispiace, non si scappa. Ci sono dei criteri, devi mettere dentro una documentazione dettagliata, ci devono essere informazioni che siano sostenibili, ci deve essere una qualità del team in grado di portare avanti questo progetto. Non inventare bellissime, meravigliose, che possono produrre proprio avanti di 4 volte al giorno. Bravissimo, no, sei bravo. Quindi sei in grado anche di portare avanti i progetti e le idee che propongono. La prima cosa che noi facciamo è domandare a valutare l'idea, cioè di tutti i tipi, grado di fare no. Questa è la cosa che più ci interessa. E anche un termine, perché se è vero che dobbiamo fare l'innovazione dobbiamo facciamo a casa, cioè dobbiamo sviluppare non per fare possono fare nuove appartamenti con nuovi materiali. Cerchiamo di fare cose attinenti al nostro business. Ho fatto la presentazione l'altro giorno, c'era anche Michela, numeri, parole, accelerazione, chiacchiere, ma voi che fate? Queste sono tutte parole. Allora, sì, sono tutte parole, però qualcosa di queste parole c'è di più, perché oltre a quel 21, che è l'unico numero importante in tutte le cose che vi ho raccontato fino ad ora, l'importante sono le facce. Allora, guardate qualche faccia qua, la sua non c'è, ma ci sarà presto. Non sono tutti imprenditori premiati, cioè sono facce, idee che dalla strada sono diventate imprese. In particolare qui ce ne stanno un paio che poi vedrete e che vi racconteranno quello che hanno fatto con Tele Italia. Cioè dall'idea sono entrati qua dentro, ce ne sono, ecco per esempio, dopo Simone ve lo racconterà. Questa è una startup del 2013, che è quella che ha inventato una soluzione che consente solo di parlare con un call center o anche via chat. La sua soluzione adesso lo utilizza il call center di Italia. Noi vediamo circa 30 milioni, 20 milioni di anni tra business, una cosa mostruosa. Il nostro call center ha utilizzato la soluzione di questo ragazzo, poi per raccontare come è inventato. Non ci si crede, eppure è successo. Cioè è un imprenditore che è entrato praticamente ed è arrivato qui. Questo è un altro dei nostri grossi successi. Con il 2014, dopo un mese e mezzo, aveva già siglato il primo contratto di telefono. Allora, a noi fa piacere questo, la mortalità delle start-up è altissima. Si dice che in genere 2 start-up su 100 diventano impresa. Lui, in 10 start-up di Roma, 5 l'abbiamo portato sull'online commerciale. Quindi, siamo abbastanza contenti del lavoro che stiamo facendo. Ovviamente hanno dovuto anche migliorare. Non vi faccio del nient'altro perché poi finisco sempre con questa qui che è la cosa più importante. Si parla di numeri, di chiacchiere, qui sono facce, le facce non mettono.
Grazie Luca. Ci saranno la possibilità di prefice, per cui potete continuare a chiedere anche domande a Luca.
Assolutamente sì.
Allow me to switch into English now because I would like Thibaut to share with us how we are going to do it. So we leave the doors of Telecom Italia and now we open up the doors of Rome, of the startup ecosystem in Lazio, and what we our initiative, which is called Quest. So what are we doing in Quest? First of all, we are simply working on connecting coexisting local ecosystems in Rome, in Lille, in Warsaw, and in Stockholm. And now, in Rome, we are working heavy-handed with the labs, which I would like to thank. There's Julia Battaglia from the labs. So it's cross the bridge. And we have been accepting the invitation from Timur Castle, which is not bad. This is the first step of what we are doing for today. And questo, no? It's this one, okay. Obviously, you're not alone in doing this. All Europe has a saying because we want to do something in Europe. We want our startups, our innovation teams, and our creative people to have obviously an international market, but also to stay in Europe. And this is a map of what's going on in the so-called Startup Europe, which is a program where we beg for some money. We are actually co-founded by the European Commission in order to network all the startups, all the investors, all the agencies like Lazio Innova, and to build a startup, a Euro ecosystem. Obviously, this is not easy. We are talking about connecting people and entrepreneurs from Stockholm, from Lille, from Warsaw, with a completely different mindset, with completely also different legal background, and with completely a lack of mutual trust. So we are creating a trust between people. And the first people it's us. I believe that we can have a say in our Stockholm. I believe that person can have a say. And I will demonstrate it with you. The first one is Stockholm. Well, it speaks by itself. More than 800 active startups, seed entrepreneurs, investing their big exit in the same environment that they're working in. Minecraft, has been bought by Microsoft for a huge amount of money, which is worth also more than Volvo. So entrepreneurship is more till the very beginning, you are young, so you can fail and you can start. So in a way, it is much more different talking about startups. I was talking with Lazio Innova, who is our man in charge of Stockholm, of people in the world in networks. He has a child of 6 years old, and say when he goes to school, where he's there, I want to create my own startup. I doubt that our children feel the same. But there is a way that we have a role in this. We have a role because we have also to allow you to have a startup and to allow our children to have a startup. And for Twist and for Love Agency, Twist has already had a very successful exit. He has, just thanks to some Twist money, but mainly thanks to our network, he has set up Probably, which is an accelerator on e-health, connecting new startups with the big corporate. He's already using the open challenge-driven innovation activity that we are working on. The next one is Live. Also Live is an amazing place. It's connected, it's just in a very central way. It's 1 hour by train to London, to Paris, and to Brussels. So this means that it was a poor environment where traditional companies were located, where a big amount of public money has been poured in order to help entrepreneurship. 5 million euro in order to really, this is the place, to install human technologies, which is a place where investors are, businesses are, it's also an accelerator, and it's also a working spaces. And Believe is our partner. He's a venture capital company. He was actually moving from Paris to Lille, not there. He likes to be there because he can have connection. And Thibaut, who is actually much more in the loop of the startups, told me that there is a big blogger based in Lille who has created the ecosystem from France. He's based in Lille. Warsaw. Well, Warsaw, as Paweł, allow me to read the surname, it's so difficult to pronounce. Paweł Chudinsky from the Poland Capitalist, the Polish co-founder of Poland Capitalist, said it's active, it's noise. Not bad for let's say, a startup ecosystem relatively younger than the others, with lots of skills, people at the university are very good, with a bit of lack of new job. So lots of seed money, especially from the public money, has been poured. We are talking about 76 billion euro poured by the European Commission into the Polish ecosystem. Not bad, as long as this startup can survive. So the job of the Polish partner, I missed, well, I was supposed to have some picture of the people, but the job of the Polish partner is to support the skill and training. We're actually going to be organizing in a Globe Forum event, which is an event focused on startups next June between 8 and 10. So you will be invited if you want to join us. Rome. You represent the ecosystem of Rome. Luis and Labs is there, team working capital, big companies, other accelerator, other working facility. And also Lazio Innova is trying more and more to focus much more its existing and new financial scheme for the startup. We know that they have been quite successful in the last 4 or 5 years in order to have a good seed phase of the startups. Now our job is to allow the expansion, to allow the exit. It's not trivial. We are believing that there's a huge gap between a good startup and a good multinational startup. And Twist comes just for this. We are going to provide services to startup in our portfolio in order to support them in growing. The services are actually quite traditional in a way in terms of what they need. What we are scouting now is the good people to provide these services. Thibaut is one of them. We want to have access to finance, access to market, access to the right knowledge. Most of them, they have not finished their team. Most of them, they lack connection in order to have a broader market. With some of you, we are already talking one-to-one in order to support you in reaching to our network, also your product. Today is the first so-called inspirational island, which is one of the moments of the co-learning services. We are actually going each month to host a webinar or a meetup where we are actually inviting people from abroad in order to share stories in this market. Both the first one, what the reason that we'll be doing, we will be launching this. And we're going to have Simone Ciminelli from our Lazio Innova side, with also Italian working in London, like supporting Italian-based startup company, also for London-based venture capitalists. Thanks to the help also for team working capital, from Louis and Lab, we're going to host online capital events. So we're going to have some people talking and listening to you in order to push you to have a better market opportunities. We are going also to select a group of interested companies for residential exchange programs. This means that if you have an interest in Stockholm, we are going to organize 5 startups which will be paid to be hosted by the Stockholm people, to get to know the Stockholm startup ecosystem, to get to know Stockholm venture capitalists. And this is also true for Lille and from Warsaw. Well, the last thing where we are working is the one that is the most interesting but the most difficult, is we want for public administration in a way to be more innovative. So we are going to launch the Open Challenge with Innovation. In a way, we are going to scout the need of innovation to the corporates, being public and private. And we are going to launch challenges around startup, whose we will have a short selection process to potentially contract. Obviously, there's a tremendous need also for Lazio Innova to be more innovative, to be closer to the startups. Yeah, I'm actually working on this. I will keep you posted. For the moment, we are working and talking with big companies who would like to research and to innovation possibility for the startup. Our calendar is that in the next October, November, we're going to launch the first Open Challenge with Innovation. So you are on an hourly basis, I will keep you posted and what kind of challenge we will end up in shaping and considering in a good way. So I will briefly, this is Thibaut, the first inspirational island. I will talk about Thibaut just in a couple of seconds. The next one, the 25th of June, is going to be Simone Ciminelli, an Italian entrepreneur and an Italian investor based in London and advocate for some London-based venture capitalists. He's also one of the co-founder of the new accelerator called I Started. The next one is Samuel is coming. So Samuel is from Redstone Capital, he's a early venture capitalist, together with Point 9. We are invited him and it will be hosted by us, presumably on the 6th of July. Then we will have in September the Accelerates. He's the CEO of the Accelerates Incubator. It's based in Denmark. It's very much in the life science of clean energy and smart cities. Then we will have Katie Bell. He's the communication expert of the gamification startup. It's actually a different way of see how business is done out of phones, like the both platform and the game and sell dresses and little pattern. So, well, I already told you about our agenda. Okay, between 8 and 10 June, we are going to Warsaw in the Growth Forum, and we will actually. I'm glad to have a Claudia event who's coming together with us, presenting, showing this showcase, bringing one of the major clients we had, and showing how much innovation could be possible when startups together with venture capitalists answer a need of innovation from the big companies in a traditional market. That is all, I think. This is the project. This is the launch of the first challenge in Sweden. They set up an accelerator with health where also the experts of the big corporates are already in the advisory board selecting the startup according to the challenge. And that is all. Thanks for coming. And now it's a great pleasure to listen and listen carefully because it's speaking very, very quickly. Thibaut Rouffineau.
Thank you.
Is actually French, living in London. He has already, despite his young age, he has a very huge, interesting activity that has been successful clothing and styling again. He's a serial entrepreneur, he's a technology advisor, and today he's going to share his point of view how to set up a multinational team, what the development team for the So, Thibaut, the floor is yours.
Can I have the picture?
Yeah.
I was noticing you can't see anything on the screen from this angle.
Just
So do you want to take a chair and maybe like recenter a bit? Is it? Can you all see the screen? Yeah, it's just this angle.
We have to because we have to.
yeah. Fallo lui perché non lo capisco.
Is there more chairs at the back or?
Ragazzi, voi sapete se...
We are more confident with you have to know that people are not like user. No.
What?
What's this about?
Very odd. Oh, you haven't opened the other presentation.
So, yeah.
No, but is all the presentation in there?
This one.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Who was charging this?
There we go.
Can you manage?
Well, good. Well done. So, who is a Lazio fan? Let's establish things here.
Lazio.
Who's a Lazio fan?
Nobody.
Who is a Roma fan? Who doesn't care about football? Okay, that's the first time I've seen that meeting with Italy. We don't care about football. So I was told if you don't finish before the game starts, someone will attack you. Please. I will do my best, but please don't attack me. Okay. Let me just introduce myself quickly. Okay, here we go. I'm Thibaut. This is me on Twitter. If you want to insult me, use Michaela's name instead of mine.
I'm used to it.
My background is I used to be a developer evangelist telling people to write mobile apps in 2005. My life was hell. In 2000, who remembers the phone they were having in 2005? Yeah, do you remember all the apps we had running on it? There's a reason for that. I was trying to tell people to do so, and it was just a bit too early. And then I started also another company that was going to get you a phone to log on to every Wi-Fi hotspot wherever you were going automatically. Once again, I think that was also in 2005. I think that was about 15 years too early, because even now it's too early. So I tend to do things very early and then I regret. But then some of them work, some of them don't. And I started quite a few companies. With Factory is a Canadian, British, American company, mainly doing services. I'm not interested in that anymore because I had enough of doing services. Started something called DroidConf, which is the largest Android conference in Europe, with conferences all over the world now. But once again, conferences I got bored of. Then I did a company called Actual. Actual is an online innovation platform. And then I realized there's not much money into innovation. So I'm going to move on. And so you move on and you create companies, and most of them are still alive and still make money, and some of them make even more money than others, but that's what you do. So my new company is called with your baby. We're happy about it. And we try to make healthy living much easier. It's really hard to eat a healthy life and have healthy food, etc. So we try to make it easy for you. We're just about to launch. Just go curbhq.com if you want to find out more. I'm not here to talk about myself. It's just to establish credibility. Because you go to a lot of startup events, we have people tell you, hey, that, do that, do that. That's how being a startup is. And they say, what have you done so far? Startup? They're talking about it. No, let's not talk about it, let's do it. So, first of all, so that's about establishing credibility. So the first thing I want to say about establishing credibility is I'm French. What have the French invented in terms of technology? Nothing. Exactly. I have no credibility whatsoever talking about technology. So let's establish that. Actually, there was one big innovation. I don't know if you've heard of this thing called Minitel. Minitel was the French inventing the internet 15 years too early in 4 colors. You know nothing about this, but you know that the guy who is today the biggest angel investor in France and biggest tech investor probably in Europe, but at a personal level, made his money doing porn on this. You can even with a lot of imagination nowadays, a lot of people no way. This guy called Thibaut Rouffineau, I don't know if you've heard of him. Thibaut Rouffineau, he's the guy who personally puts the most money in Europe into early stage startups through Thibaut Ventures. I don't know if you've heard of Thibaut Ventures. Absolutely, he runs the second biggest mobile operators in France, and recently put a bid to buy T-Mobile in Germany, in the US. Sorry.
Small things.
Yeah, small things. Started all here. So, but this thing failed obviously because the French were thinking, hey, everyone will want that. This is better than the internet, isn't it? But the product didn't work. And why didn't it work? Because it was the government trying to tell you what to do. And they were telling you this is it. This is the way you're gonna work. And you know what? That didn't create anything apart from one guy. But it's not that anything about it. And so a lot of the views that are being presented to you as a startup are very much black and white. And that's always what I've been complaining about. Is that you never tell how people say, well, you know what, life is not easy. It's not going to be all glorious, or it's not going to be all failure. You're going to have a lot of gray moments in the middle. It might be, and it's just down to you. Either you take these gray moments as very sad, or you can take it happily, it's part of life. So I take it as, hey, that's part of life, and that's how I tend to give presentations. So if you're telling me, hey, this is very happy, that's you having a good angle on life, if you see life from a good angle. If you see that as very bad and doomy, like doom and gloom, then maybe even if you don't want to be in a startup because that's going to be what's really like. So here's the story, what I tend to say about black and white. So, have you heard of this? I can see not everyone can really see the screen. You were very polite, and now you're regretting the time. Can't see the screen. Can someone switch the sun off, please? No?
The sun, you're going to
Yeah.
put the light, okay.
No sun off in Italy. In the UK, it's easy. It's like anytime. Yeah, easy. So, you know who said that? Oh, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs looked at Android and said, oh, it's all cookie cat. It's all going to fail. See what happens. 80% of market share today is Android. And that's because you have these people who keep telling you, this is black and this is white. This is good and evil. But there's no such thing good and evil. Google is evil as well as they're not evil, whether you want it or not. So, let me tell you one of the biggest stories that's ever been told, and this is the public slide, this is not a mistake. One of the biggest stories that is being told in mobile, because that's what I've been doing for a long time, is who's heard the debate, HTML versus app? Yeah? So whether you as a startup should write an app or whether you should just do like a website that's just optimized for mobile. And in general, it starts like this. Who was doing mobile apps in 2005 apart from me? Yeah, you guys are reasonable people. In 2005, if you wanted to write a mobile app, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare because the phones had no memory, they had no processing power, they had no battery, they had nothing. And writing code was an absolute invention. Yeah? It was a nightmare. Anyone who was a developer in those days has no head to this day, apart from me. Then someone came and said, no, we're all going to do that for the web. You don't need to write mobile apps anymore. This is finished. It's all going to be beautiful. And he's like, really? Well, no, actually, maybe not that. But for now, we have Apple. And Apple is going to be absolutely fantastic. You write one app and suddenly it works on all the devices on the planet. We're not going to need anything else. And then suddenly, these atrocious Android arrive, take 80% of market share. And it's not possible to write for one phone and then it's going to work for everyone's phone. So someone came up with the concept of HTML5 and said, well, HTML5 is going to be so good, it's going to run everywhere. You don't need to write anything, any on for every single platform. I don't know for you, but it's really annoying. Every time I write HTML these days, it never works on any single browser. It's like, I try for one, and then all the other ones don't work, and that's how it works for this one, and then that one. No, it never works. And then I don't know if you tried in the heydays of, oh, HTML5 is going to rule the world. In those days, that's the day also where operators, and I know we're within operator here, started discovering that you could just press a button and say, actually, if someone wants to download WhatsApp using HTML5, you can just block it, because really we don't want WhatsApp on our network. And in those days then, it just suddenly became very much impossible to do anything with HTML5. So anyone started thinking, what do I do? It's like half. Maybe I could just do Apple and Android. Yeah? So black and white became green. And then, I don't know, it was the days when Microsoft arrived, and they with Nokia. Well, no. It can't just be 2 people. It has to be 3 people. There's going to be 3 ecosystems. You need to just write 3 apps, and that's 100% of the fun. They're great ecosystem. They already have converted, right? And this was what everyone was trying to tell you: 3 ecosystems. And you were looking at it like, you concentrate on this, yeah. And what do you see? Yes! If you concentrate hard enough, you're back to the Minitel days. You're back to this government telling you what to do. It doesn't work. It didn't work then, it won't work anymore. You, unfortunately, have to embrace a gray world. So nowadays, this debate has kind of gone, because I was recently reading an article by VC who was predicting, oh, what is the future? Well, offshore intelligence, self-driving cars, and HTML5 is still going to die. But like, HTML5? Who's talking about HTML5 in recent days? Well, still, VC talk about it, so it's still a relevant thing. But nowadays, what everyone talks about is wearable. But let me tell you about the story of wearable. This was the first wearable. Anyone remember their phones in 2005? Or 2004, etc., yeah? That's more or less what the wearable was like. And the way it worked is you were buying the thing to actually power your phone, and then you were putting that in your car, in your house, etc., and then you were buying the phone that was actually the plug on top of it. Yeah? This was the third wearable. GSMA killed wearables. They introduced USB, micro USB, and everyone was going to power the phone through that. So, what did the hardware people have to do? They had to look at the next innovation. And the next innovation was this. This is screen size. So everyone started doing bigger and bigger and bigger screens. And the goal was to buy the bigger screen and to be the first phone to arrive with the bigger screen than the other one. And then suddenly we saw the entire industry going from small phones, like over here, to like at the top, and to actually really big phones. And big phones are now more or less the norm. No one wants a small phone anymore. Remember the days when you had very tiny pockets? It's done. And then therefore, with the big phones, you need to have big accessories to go with it, because you need to hide it, you know, in some way, to put it in your bag. And this was the next generation of wearable. Then people came with some of these. Like you need to know every step you're doing, every heartbeat, and so on and so forth. This is the new generation wearable. But when you think, and nowadays, if you see go see a VC in London, and you arrive with an app, and you say, actually, we might do some hardware in the future. They look at you and say, I don't care about your app. What is this hardware? Like, we want hardware. What's money in hardware? Because money in hardware actually counts. So everyone wants to see hardware nowadays. But hardware, when you think about it, all these things feed into these two things. HealthKit and the Android equivalent, which really never really took off. But HealthKit, at least. HealthKit is Apple telling you, you know what? You used to write all these apps, and we used to take a third of the money. Now you're going to build all this hardware, and we're going to take all your data and sell it for you. This is very lucky. So, once again, if you're going to hardware, if you're going to wearable with this mindset of, hey, this is telling me it's good, so let's go with it, you will get to wake up tomorrow saying that all your business model based on, I'm going to sell my data. This guy, suddenly you see Apple doing that thing. So, why did Apple start all this? Everything I'm going to say is going to be about grayness and the fact that you need to take everything with a pinch of salt. I don't know if it's an expression in Italian. Does everyone understand? Take everything with a pinch of salt? Yes? Yes. Perfect. If I go too fast, by the way, just wave your arms or ask your neighbor. There will be so much disturbance that I'm going to have to stop. So, startups. So, who works in a startup right now? You can have two hands if you work in two startups. And stand up if you work in three. Okay, so about half of you. So, when it comes to startup nowadays, it's absolutely crazy. I always say that in the 60s, if you were going to be the cool guy, you're going to start a bank. In 2010, if you want to be the cool guy, you're going to start a startup. Nah, that's it. I have nothing to do. I mean, you arrive somewhere and you're like, hey, I need to start a startup. Like, not realizing that actually it's much easier to start a startup than starting a bank. But that's another story. And everyone wants to give you new rock stars. And everyone tells you to become a startup. You know who this guy is? Okay. So this guy is Lord Kitchener. Lord Kitchener in 1914 was telling the Brits, go and get killed on the front floor in the First World War. I mean, he didn't tell them that. Be proud, British soldiers. Defend your country. Become meat grind, as we say. And there's a bit of that at it. Everyone tells you to be a startup, but it's like, do you really want to be in my shoes day in, day out? And you really want to work like from 7 in the morning till 11 at night every day? It's like, come on, you're a good guy. Come on, if I'm going to be a startup, you're going to have to treat me like the rock star. And I see so many people who want you to be a rock star, but then the moment you have become a rock star, you start hiring local people, you just like shit, like someone else. If you want to be a rock star, you're going to have to tell people that they have to treat you like one. And this is what I want to tell you here. Some of the tricks about doing that. The other thing is, if you're a startup or an entrepreneur nowadays, you've got loads of people willing to help you. It looks like the entire world is nowadays producing content to help you with marketing, to help you with your development. Everyone's got something for you to make your life easy. Once again, a moment in history. You remember these days? This was the gold rush in California. This was the guy who was selling you buckets and spades. So you would go and pick gold. And it's like, why are you selling these things? Why don't you go and get gold yourself? Selling buckets and spades. So all you want to keep your things, very kind people, accept all their gifts. Be very careful before you give them any money. Nowadays, in those days, they didn't know premium and freemium. So they didn't know that they had to give you half a bucket in order for you to get the next one later. Nowadays, everyone gives you parts of buckets. So take all the free bits and see what's good and really start paying money when you need it. Everyone tells you that failing is good. Okay? And this is data from Techstars, how many companies survive from 2014 onwards. So you can see the new generation of companies coming out of Techstars, a lot of them survived, that's because they're fairly new. If you look at the older generation, there's actually a lot more that have died than the ones that have survived.
All around the world.
That's Techstars, so
Techstars.
a lot of US data in here. Yes, failure is acceptable. But really, you know why we work with these here? Because you know how turtles live, they have 1,000 little eggs, and out of 1,000, and they have 2 who will survive. But just because failure is acceptable doesn't mean you need to be killed, eaten by a shark, etc., etc. It doesn't need to ruin your life from now on, like this poor little guys. So just because you're going to live a startup life doesn't mean that you need to not live a life. And I would like everyone to consider that when you're going into a startup life. Hey, am I really going to see no more of my friends, no more going out? Because you could destroy your soul at the same time. The goal is not to destroy your soul. The goal is to learn enough in a short enough time for you to become a better person and create a better company in the long run if you're going to fail. The one I love most nowadays, and I'm really sorry, I didn't tell Michela to put this slide in, is people who come from the European Commission and tell you, hey, go create jobs and save the European economy, because really, we can't do it. We have tried everything. We even gave money to Greece, for God's sake. Don't you think that would be the last solution you would have in the book of solutions? They tried everything, it didn't work. Nowadays they want you to do that. But the reality is, any one of these people who, and they give you stats like this. The app economy has created, I don't know how many millions of money. But if you look at the details somewhere, because they're not very clean, you realize that most people make their money out of services. Basically build apps for someone else, not build apps for you. Services and building apps for others make money. That's 100% sure. Is it a startup? No, because it's not scalable, and that's the #1 thing a startup is supposed to be. And think about it. Think about all these companies like Uber, etc. They're starting to realize nowadays in the US that they're actually destroying jobs rather than creating jobs. Because people realize that being an Uber driver actually fucking sucks. You need to live your life in your car at the time where everyone else wants to be asked. And these guys are realizing they're not making you money, they have no more life, and they're realizing that, hey, I actually would rather have a 9-to-5 job. So there's actually still a big question mark around this. So all these people try to give you their definition of startup. This is what Steve Blank said. And if Steve Blank says it in general, then you have to take it as it's there. So startup is an organization formed, blah, blah, blah. You can read as much stuff. Important term, organization, repeatable, scalable. Okay? Did you see the word rockstar? No. Did you see the word risk your life and sanity? No. Did you see the word being built along the way? No. Creating jobs and saving the European economy? No. None of these is part of the definition of startup. So what you're trying to do is the previous thing, not this. The other thing that I find very interesting is the way a lot of people see startup, and you can see Glenn does that. First of all, you take people who go on a mission to try to find a product and try to squeeze money as much as possible until they found this thing. And I think this is a really dangerous way of seeing things. Because the way you see things is, you take the talents, you, the team, someone gives you a bit of money, fool people, friends and family, some kind of incubator, and then it's ticking time. You have 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever amount of money, and then at the end of it, you're there or not. Like, this is the most stupid way to think about a startup ever. And I hate the fact that a lot of the startup incubator accelerators try to make you think that way. Why is it? Because here, you're forgetting that time is the essence. And this is where starting like an international company starts. International companies don't think, oh, I'm going to limit this team here, give them a bit of money, see what comes out of it. They think, how do I do to be first to market. How do I do to get an idea that's going to kick ass before anyone else does? And that's what you need to do. And for you to do that, you need to completely revert things. You need to think, how can I get enough money? How can I put that money into talent and find the right talent to get my product out in the market before anyone else does, at the right level of quality, solving the right product, etc., etc. So what I'm going to try to talk about here is that international view of you need to think about money internationally, first of all, and get money first. You then need to get talent. I hate that notion that the founding team are all the talent. The founding team, if they're good, will actually need to manage a company of, let's say, 500 people in a few years. And if one of them is an HTML5 specialist who can optimize JavaScript so that we can actually run an operating system in a browser, he's got no fucking chance to run a 500 people company, I'm sorry. So you're going to have, as a founding team, to know how to get the right talents in at the right price in order to hit with your product on time as soon as possible. So, money. Money. Nobody has the point. Who wants money? No, that's not possible. I have 2 people here who want money. Okay, we're going to do that again because that was a total failure. Who wants money? There's still a few people who have no arms or who don't want money. I will go with the first solution. Anyways, a lot of people say, do you know this saying that money is here? That's why I kept the both sides, because money is not there. So don't even think about it. This is not the right solution. I don't understand, where is the money? Honestly, this is the easiest question ever. Think about where do you find money? Customers. And?
Friends.
You go through a cemetery and you take people out. So the answer is simple. Well, they are rich people. It's as simple as that. Rich people have money, and you just need to know as many rich friends as possible. And it works. It's actually really sad to say that when you start to meet one rich person who loves your idea, he will tell all his 5 rich friends that he loves your idea, will tell their own 5 rich friends, and the next day you actually have your round done. All you do is happen to me. Yeah, it happens to me as well. It's like it happens everywhere. Like people don't understand that. Like these rich people are the people you should look at. Don't go for banks, don't go to VCs, go find rich people. Like, go and hang out in the rich. I mean, seriously, I know people. I mean, there's loads of stories like this. People in London who just go to a bar. A guy who got hired as a delivery guy, so he could deliver something in a restaurant, like a restaurant chain. So he could go and see the boss, like get inside the building, be authorized in the building, sneak in the office with the boss, and say, "Hey, I've got this to sell." The guy loved it. The guy had business afterwards and sold in all these restaurants. Go meet rich people. As simple as that. And then people say all sorts of that. Build a business plan and some. That's it. More seriously. I mean, that was very serious, but unfortunately, there's a lot of, I'll explain later on, there's like a big issue with this rich people in Europe in general. This is supposedly the amount of money that was spent in early stage investment around Europe. And as you can see, UK is just like super high up, high above everyone else. So what I'm going to tell you about is how to get money in London. Because A, I was told to do so. B, because that's where I come from. And C, because I've done it, so I know exactly how it works. By the way, a lot of the slides are actually taken by from a friend of mine. I'll give you the link to the full presentation. I'm just going to give you my view of the slides, you know, I like to actually give feedback to people. There's no point in me telling you I spent much time on this slide because I didn't, because I couldn't be bothered. Really. In the end, there's a few things that you need to understand. This is the long version. This is the short version. Yeah, it's much simpler. Proof of concept. You need to find enough money from friends and family for your proof of concept. Then you got this marvelous thing in the UK called SCIS. I will explain more about SCIS. SCIS is more or less the government saying to all the rich people I mentioned earlier on, by the way, if you put your money in startups, we're going to give you 80% of the money you invest back in tax refund. So basically, you can either put your money to give your money to the government, and you know what happens, or you can give your money to a startup, and you can actually become rich at the back of this. Plus, on top of that, you're actually spending your money on good people. Did I say that? Okay. That's SCIS for you. You can raise up to £150,000 in the UK fairly easily based on SCIS. At the moment, you met 4 rich people. That's simple enough. That gives you 2 product solutions there. Then, a lot of things nowadays, once you get your product solution fit, you will need a super seed. Super seed is around 500K. That's where you find a lot of angels coming in. What that will lead you to is your product market fit. So that you can go and see a VC and say, if you give me the money, I can just scale like crazy. I know exactly all the levers to pull, or where to put the money, how to do my advertising, and so on and so forth. And these are like the big stages and the big funding stages in London at this point in time.
Yeah. It's working now. Now,
It's slow, isn't it? Okay, what is SCIS? So as I explained, rich people pay a lot of taxes.
in your opinion.
That's not.
But it's okay.
In the UK, rich people pay a lot of taxes. A lot of countries they don't. But I'm not going to talk about politics. I was told not too much on this at least. So what the government can do is say, hey, rich people, put this money in startups. The way it works is the following one. We need to know. And once again, people here will hate me, but you need to be a UK startup. So it only works for UK startups. You can't do fintech, financial tech, technology. The reason being, if you're doing fintech, you have enough rich people around you that one of them will give you money. Simple as that. And then the way it works is, as an investor, you get, I think, 50% of your money back automatically, and then if the startup fails, you can claim another 20 or 30%. And if the startup succeeds, then you make money. Simple. So the way it works is either you approach individual people who are rich enough. So you as a startup need to apply for SCIS to be SCIS ready. And maybe it's just a bit of paperwork that you send to the government. I think a couple of days back, they have your authorization. You give that number to the rich person, and they get their discount. Or you can go through groups of angels who will actually help you set up an SCIS round. These are the various ways you can get money from in London. The ones that are really booming right now are crowdfunding platforms. A lot of crowdfunding platforms for equity, especially, are here. That's especially good if you're not in pure technology. It's absolutely fascinating to hear them talk about how people invest in startups on crowdfunding platforms. The fact that you have some guys in the middle of nowhere in Saudi or who believe they're in the casino, and in general, a decision I think is made to put money in a startup in about 1.5 minutes. So once again, like, business plan, forget about it. Something flashy. I'm cool. I've got a cool team, and here's a nice product. 1.5 minutes, that's all you need. One click. Better than Amazon. So that is quite big. SCIS, absolutely marvelous. Just need the rich people. There's another version of SCIS called EIS. Slightly more complex to get, but just same scheme. Discounted taxes for a lot of people. So once you know someone who puts money into SCIS scheme, it's very likely that if they're rich enough, and this should be the mention that you should need rich people that can actually put money in 2 rounds, then you'll get that. There's a lot of people, there's a few government-backed schemes, angel syndicates as much as you want. What's quite interesting about angel certificates is a lot of them are actually hidden. So if you think of any big university in the US, they will have a small syndicates of angels that will have an office in London, and there will be someone from this university who's decent, who will be scouting for startups to put money in. So if you go and look at all these links, you will find people who will be rich, because people from rich universities in the US and the UK tend to work in finance and tend to be rich, and are willing to invest. And super angels, people who made exits, VCs, as many as you want. I can, at the end of this is a link, you can go and find many of them. And corporate ventures. That's actually, so a friend of mine recently came to me and said, hey, I just raised 2 million. Wow, it was good for you, dude. Well done. What do you do? Well, actually, we're trying to make it easy for people to swim. What? Yeah, we're making it easy for people to swim. So we really have this big dream that swimming is hard. If you're a swimmer, it's really hard to track your progress because most of the wearables, they're done for walking, they're not for swimming. If you want to find a place to go train, it's really hard, and etc., etc. So we can't solve all the problems first, but first we started by just making available a timetable for every swimming pool in London as to when you can go and swim in an hour. It's like, can we? And the guy said, yeah. We started doing that. All the way the swimming pool was super happy and giving us data. We started driving people to the swimming pool. And then Speedo came to us and said, oh, we want to invest in your startup. Seriously. Who would, I mean, first of all, who would think of asking Speedo for money? After all, I mean. So that happened. And you really need to think hard. Hey, all these like corporates nowadays want to put money in startup and want to have more to do with digital. Which ones will have a real fit with what you're doing? And how can you also tweak your product to make it sound exciting to them so they will put money in? I'm doing that right now. I know that process. And it's absolutely fascinating that these people have like millions of customers and quite a lot of money in the bank. And they're really interested by this little thing that you do now because they see this big picture behind it. So don't forget about them. As I mentioned, go and check it out. I think you'll find loads of information. Their goal is to help people raise money in London. So check them out if you want to raise money in London. And they have loads of presentation on their website, on SlideShare, that will tell you all the names, all the people to meet, the name of these guys who are actually just here to help you out. How am I doing on time? Because I got another 100 slides, so just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah? Good. I know this is like an important game. So. Okay, the biggest problem is FOMO. Who's heard of FOMO? In the US, investors have FOMO. FOMO is this thing where you're looking at your phone when you're with friends because you think, is there something cooler happening next door? And I'm not there. But FOMO is exactly what happens to US investors. They're always thinking, is there this cool startup that I could be missing on by not putting my seed money on right now? We don't have that yet in Europe. I think in Europe we're FOLO, which is fear of losing out and losing your money, and therefore only following the people, your friends who put money in there, so if we're together, we might just, gang up and it might happen. Until that happens, it's going to be harder to get money in Europe, so you might want to think about the US. London is not the only solution, or fortunately. I'm being attacked by insects here. It's dangerous. Someone want to swallow. Okay. So, you got your money. Now you need to build your team. If I had been given £1,000 every time I had answered this question, I would be a millionaire by now. Unfortunately, I didn't take the money, and I'm not yet a millionaire. But this is an absolute killer question because it's fucking hard to answer. I don't know who's built a mobile team together. Okay, you will know how difficult that is. First of all, It used to be easy. When someone was asking you, hey, how do you build a mobile team? You used to answer, oh, well, you need an iOS developer. That's it. But nowadays, it's like completely different. Let's start with the first problem. You need to get one of these guys, an Android developer, an iPhone developer, what we call front-end developer, mobile front-end developer, who will know how to get Android to work well or iPhone to work well. How are these people? They're the most expensive people on the planet. I can prove it. If you don't believe me, I can prove it. You don't believe me, I can see that. This is valuation on a per employee basis of companies across the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. And as you can see, WhatsApp or Instagram were the highest valuation on a per employee basis. Why? Because mobile developers are the most expensive people on the planet. That's as simple as this. This is the proof for you. And it's true. Like, I don't know if you try to hire a mobile developer. They're really, really expensive. Because A, there's not many of them. B, it's a very hard skill. And B, because there's always someone who's proposing more money to them somewhere else. And they tend to go away, isn't it? I'll talk about this later on. But so, yeah, when someone tells me, hey, I want to build an app, I tell them, well, first of all, you need to get one of these. Or two if you want an iPhone and Android app, because the same guy won't do the two. Then what you need is a designer who really understands mobile. Not the guy who gives you pretty or logos, you need a guy who understands interaction, etc., experience, etc. Then, I'm French, so I'm going to do ménage à trois. Okay? With a back-end guy. You need your back-end guy. That's it. It's good to see that some people love the very good stuff. You can't have another part without a back-end guy. And a development team, a mobile development team without a back-end guy. Because nowadays, half of the optimization into the speed, etc., is done in the back-end. And there are some people who are trying to sell you shortcuts all the time. I don't know if anyone has heard about mobile backend as a service. Mobile backend as a service is the thing that tells you you don't need a backend guy. All you need is one of these numerous services that will do all the work for you. But you remember my story about Apple sucking all your data and sending it to someone else? If you start putting your data into one of these things, you're stuck with them for your entire life. And you will have trouble selling your data, you will have trouble extracting your data, doing the right data analysis on them. Because the next thing in your team is your big data guy. Nowadays, a mobile team doesn't exist without a big data guy. And really, without an artificial intelligence guy as well. Yeah. So nowadays, we're talking about a mobile team that has at least 5 talents, which are 5 completely different talents when you think about it. So in your team, if you're going to do a mobile app, you already need 5 people. And then, we say, hey, I'm going to go come home. I'm going to go and get a growth hacker, or like a content hacker, or whatever you want to call it. But once again, like this guy is supposed to do SEO, write content, be content strategist, know HTML. It's like, have you ever met someone who actually does all that?
It's a big, it's a big job.
It doesn't exist. Once again, it's like 4 or 5 people, just this job. So if you want to have a growth hacker and a mobile guy, which is most startup, and it's like the minimum viable team, you actually need 10 people. So how are you going to do that? When someone gave you 20,000 pounds or euros, it's like, that's a bit of a hard problem to solve, isn't it? Think about it. Start with money, then find talent, and go and try to accelerate things in your own time. So what I'm going to give you my tip to actually, once you get the money, squeeze people as much as possible to get all these talents in a team for as little money as possible, so you can A, go quick, and then deliver on time before your money runs out. That is. First of all, this is the free version of Japan. No, this is too late. He gave you the focus. First of all, you need to focus. The first reason why you start having all these people in your team is that you started to do your business development before you've done your product development. There's no fucking point. Or you as a CEO should do it. Don't hire a team of growth hackers. So first of all, focus. Build one thing, make sure it's good, then build the next one. Point one. Point two. Know your world. So now you're all looking at this. What the fuck? Have you heard of Odesk? They changed name recently. They call Upwork now. Who's heard of Odesk? Yeah, so a few. Odesk is marvelous. It changed my life. Because what you can do is you can find someone around the world who's going to be one of these 10 talents I mentioned for about 1/10 of the money that you would pay him if he was next to you. And not only that, he's willing to work 2 hours a week because there's only work for 2 hours a week for a big data guy in the company, maybe, because that's the big data will come later.
There's also so-called fancy pants. It's a competition.
There's a lot of them. I mean, nowadays, I know a friend of mine runs a company like this in India, Pakistan. I know loads of companies. So, I'm going to play a game for you to understand the world as a startup. Which country provides these services on Odesk? I'm going to let you to compare. This is another country. This is another country. This is another country. This is another country. And this is the world. Okay. Where do you go to get data entry?
Oh, data. Yeah, Switzerland or something.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Philippines. Philippines is extraordinary for data entry. India, when it comes to data entry, not for everything. For data entry, it's like you get people who speak marvelous English, extremely meticulous, detailed, absolutely brilliant. You'll get you data entry there. For blog writing as well, because they speak quite good English, you'll get absolute quality. Where's this? Web and design, but what's important here is how big the graphic design, logo design, and illustration. Nope. Nope. Argentina. You have to think why. Argentina is really big for these. This is really the specificity of Argentina. Where's this? Really big on web and design, but you see that everywhere. What's quite big here is mobile, bigger than anywhere else in the world. That's Belarus. You have to think.
Yeah,
The war.
Oh, I think this is Belarus. My mistake. I can't remember who that is. Who's this?
Translation languages. India.
Italy!
Actually, makes sense.
Okay.
Mobile is so small.
So, the other fascinating data point is, now that you're thinking international, you have to think about who do you compete with talent for and what for. Once you hire a development team, you know that a good developer is worth between 5 and 10 bad developers. Between 2 and 5 average ones. It's a good ratio. However, in terms of salary, and it's fucking hidden there, so you can't see it, but you can start here at 6,000 and you go up to 100,000. So the ratio is 1 to 15. So if on one side you go 1 to 10, on the other side 1 to 15, you're actually better off trying to find cheaper developers somewhere than a very expensive one at home, especially if you're in London. So what is happening? If you're a London company, the way you take that is, I'd rather have people in-house, because that's how London companies do it. I look at a map of Europe and I say, where are the good engineers? Because definitely they're not in the UK. I tell you, if you're looking for developers, don't think British development. It's not going to get you very far. But you look at these like 3 countries here, and you see that actually you can give someone 10, 20,000 more than they make in their country, bring them to London, and they'll be the happiest people ever. So what you do is you put an advertising on Stack Overflow. The guy in Italy go on Stack Overflow trying to solve a problem for your startup, and then he sees, oh, this startup in London would pay me twice the amount of money that I'm making here to do exactly the same job. And actually, I love my mom's food. But I'm told there's good Italian restaurants in London as well. So what do? You move to London. So these are the people you're going to compete with on a daily basis. And I would say if you're in London and you're thinking, hey, I'm competing with the guys who just raised 2, 3, 4, 5 million, or with banks, you're going to hire someone. A developer in London nowadays can ask for 80K, and I'd be like, hey, really? Am I going to spend the money on that? Or am I going to try to find 5 people in India or in Belarus, in that case, or 2 or 3 in Belarus who are actually fucking good, and to actually do twice the amount of work that this guy would do for about 1/3 of the money? The answer is simple. So what you all need to think about is, in this game, how am I going to build my team? And the good thing is nowadays, there's loads of tools to help you manage a remote team. And this is where you also need to be international. So I've been lucky enough in my career that I've managed teams in Japan, China, India, US, etc. But I know that managing a team is country dependent. If I were to manage my guy who worked for me in Ukraine, the same way I manage the guy who worked for me in India, they would slap me. And they wouldn't talk to me. Because in India, you call people every 2.5 hours to find out how things are doing. I learned that very hard. My first ever outsourcing was way back when I was. And India, I gave the simplest thing to do on the planet to this company. And they told me, oh, we're going to put a project manager and 2 developers underneath, and in 1 month we're going to come back with a product. And then months later they come back with a product, and I'm doing nothing. And I started coding, and in a day they had the same thing. And I'm like, hey! So think differently. Like when you do your management there, don't think I'm going to be nicey, I'm going to give people space to think. No, you have to just put whatever you want to put in your hand, but just get people to go fast and get them to understand who the boss is. You have loads of tools to manage people. It's really down to you whether you're a Slack user, whether you have anything on Skype. But nowadays, managing a virtual team is super simple. All you need is for you to adapt your style to various countries.
What is this Asana?
Asana is a project management tool.
It's like Trello or Asana.
Yeah, very similar. I mean, some of them have. I prefer Asana to Trello, but I'm not a big fan. So it just works better for me. I say you have loads of choice. It's down to you to choose the tool that's not going to charge you. Back to the spade and buckets, yeah. And nowadays there's even tools like this one to let you know if you want to get all your teams to go together, where in the world they could be together for a week as cheaply as possible. This is called teleport. So I realized that the center of gravity of my team was actually in Istanbul, and that if we all wanted to meet for a week from Bangalore, Chandigarh, Alexandria, Skopje, Lviv, and London, we would need to meet in Istanbul, which is fantastic because my wife is still here. And so I realized that I was actually running a Turkish company, and my wife was happy. Everyone tells me, yeah, okay, but I speak average English, and Sicily, and so forth. Look, I'm going to show you a guy who's actually managed to create. This guy is like a visionary in Italy. He thought, no one knows my country. It's a very tiny country. But we want to be well known in the world of sport. But in Italy, no way we're going to get anywhere with football. I'm going to build a cricket team. The Vatican cricket team has recently beaten the English teams. Seriously. This is like This is true. If this guy can do it, you can do it. Okay. It's your neighbor. If you have questions about how to do it properly, you can get him as a mentor. Okay. Time.
It's okay. You're enjoying it.
It's becoming a bit hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I the only one sweating?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's why you're so far away. Okay, good. I'll go. Actually, I'm going to take a mini water break. We're almost there. I think there's about 50 slides left. And now we do it quick. Business model. That was the, if you remember, what are you here to do with startup? Scalable, repeatable. Do you know who, like, sometimes I do history of startups. And there's like some guy who wrote this article back in, I think it was somewhere in 2011, saying Dropbox is going to be such a flop. And Steve Jobs, you see like Steve Jobs saying, Dropbox is the future. They would never go anywhere as a company. And why did I put that in? It's a great question. Oh, yeah, I don't know that. So the first one was, you might see a business model that no one else will see. Stick with it. Like Dropbox did. Because in those days, they solved a big problem. There was not a feature. Sharing information between people was an absolute fucking thing in the back. So you have to think about it in exactly the same way. The reason I show this all the time is, if you were to build a startup nowadays, would you really build an interface like this? This is like the shittiest interface there exists nowadays that you see on a daily basis. And everyone is addicted to it. And everyone is looking at it. It's like, oh, this looks so good. It's like, what? My life on Facebook nowadays is like, where am I going to play? I just can't figure it out anymore. I give up. And I don't know if you, like, this is one of the strict rules of product management. And really, when you think about it, business models. You have a tendency, when people start with business models, say, I'm going to make money that way. And then you go to that, saying, oh, you can make money that way, and that way, and that way. And then your business model, from being the very pure thing, ends up being, I'm going to make money from all this kind of stuff. And everyone looks at it after a while and says, and same thing with your product. Like, you start adding all these bits, and over time, like, the value decreases. And I don't know if you remember this slide. This is a fascinating slide. This is the number of words on the front page of Google at the time. At some point, Google were actually fighting to be hidden. As many little words. They were actually counting the words every day and saying, the less words we have on our front page, the better quality of our algorithm. Because we actually spend time getting you good results, not getting you all sorts of crap on the front page. And now a lot of people have, kind of forgotten about it. And nowadays, people want to make apps. Who needs a people app? Like, I mean, there's millions of them. And everyone's thinking same thing over and over and over again. And I don't know. People who work in incubators, etc., like, you sometimes arrive with people who tell you a story that you've heard many times, and you're like, you heard the fact that you have to move on if the story hasn't moved. Like, and so the business model is about how you make your money. And this is obviously revolutionized people's life, and freemium is going to be nowadays the way to make money, the business model in mobile especially. And this is old slide because they don't actually do the slides anymore, which is really, really sad. But old data, they were telling you based on the kind of app you do, how exactly people are making it, the main business model behind them. And what's interesting is more and more people go and sell virtual items, virtual goods, whether it's for freemium in their apps. And when you think about it, I don't know if you, and there's debates around it, but the reality is I don't know, who's done any gaming here? Okay, so in gaming, there's like a very simple rule. If you're going to sell anything, the first thing you need to sell is gold. Because gold is easy to buy. And gold can buy you loads of stuff. So that's the #1 item that you should be selling. And then what you should spend your time doing is thinking, what is the most expensive piece of shit I can sell in my game or in my app, etc. And this is supposedly, according to the history of most expensive shit that is being sold in app, the most expensive in-app item ever. I think that was about $5,000. The whatever it's called, the bear gun or something like this, for about 4,000, whatever it is here. That's what you need to do. First of all, get a basic item, gold, that is going to be sold in your app as a currency, and then think about crazy shit that you can sell. And if you talk to anyone who's in casinos and etc., they will tell you that most of the money is made on this 5-10% of players who just buy every single fucking crazy shit that you can come up with. So you just need to feed the machine. However, if you try to raise funds for gaming nowadays, it's actually a very hard thing.
I think some numbers show that usually up to around 40% of players of certain game are the ones that pay for it in some way or another.
Yeah, and the one who really make you money?
But the people who crop you're only paying for.
Yeah, because they are the ones who actually make a living for you. I mean, that's what casinos are making their money in, online casinos. Have you heard of Facebook? People betting money on Facebook, in online casinos on Facebook. This is the most stupid thing to do on the planet. You cannot get your money back. Like, you're betting your money and you put it down in the Facebook system and it stays there. And you're basically like wasting your money. And there are people who are totally addicted to that. And so if you're a casino maker, I know a friend of mine who's doing a casino machine, and then he started doing the online version and then the Facebook version. And he was selling that to people who supposedly want to practice for the day they arrive in the casino. Like, yeah, I practiced on that game, now I know it very well. What the hell are you thinking of? These are just probability. Go in a math course for about 10 minutes and you'll understand that it doesn't make any difference whatsoever that you've trained on Facebook. Okay. Games are interesting. But nowadays, I think if you're in apps, you have to sell more than games. And people are happy to buy it. Like crazy stuff in apps nowadays. So, who uses apps to become fitter? No? Yeah, I mean, I use apps to become fitter. People are selling me fitness. They're not selling me an app. They're selling me fitness. And I can tell you, loads of people buy it. One of the most successful bit recently is being story running. Or like a lot of stories like this, where you basically, people are bored. #1 problem with fitness is people abandon very quickly. They abandon running, they abandon the gym. So what you need is get them out of their board. How do you do that? Get them a zombie story. Yeah. They're not running, they're trying to escape zombies that are attacking them. So they go in the park and then suddenly the state tell them there's a zombie on the right, turn left now. And they pay for that.
That might be dangerous near the road.
People buy fitness. You think this is crazy? Well, let me show you this. Whoops. I don't know if you've heard of this thing, digital. You know, digital pills that help you with all this thing. Reduce stress, prevent insomnia, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it seems pretty crazy. This got me a huge amount of money. But I've actually captured a few years, this was about a year ago, and this is recently, what they're selling on their platform. First of all, you can see they're selling a lot more, they're selling quite a lot of money here. Matt Magnet was actually selling for $3.99 and was the #10 seller. Did you know that? That you can just listen to some music when you're on the phone and it will attract money. It does! Look, people are paying for it. Motivation, lifting the cloud, and all these things you can buy. Why are people selling always the same like boring stuff where you can sell very aspirational stuff? Fitness, man, slimness, sleep, These are like basic stuff that you really want to buy. Nowadays it's food. A number of food apps is really increasing like crazy. That's what I'm doing. So everyone know that. Like if you sell, I'm selling health. Because people want to have a healthier life and they don't know how to do it. And it's complex, and I'm selling easy, simple health. But what can you sell? The one I love recently, they just raised 1.2 million in London, pounds that is. You sell you brain power. It's not a game. Don't talk a game. These guys are like small exercises you do every day to increase your brain power. And you become more intelligent at the back of it. I mean, I realized myself, like since I started using this app, my IQ is like completely skyrocketed. If I wanted to do this presentation like 10, 15 days ago, it would have been rubbish. Next to this, I'm like at this level. Try it, you'll see, guaranteed. So that's what people forget about. Like, don't tell me that you're doing apps or this and that. What dream are you selling? What are the big problems you're trying to solve? And you will see people flocking to your stuff. It's a lot easier to sell this than it is to sell like people app. Anyways, moving on, numbers. One thing I'm absolutely fascinated about is numbers. And one thing I found that a lot of startup pitching me are not fascinated about is numbers. They come to me and say, oh, this is idea. Numbers. How many people? How much money? Etc. etc. And people fail this all the time. And not only do they fail this, but they fail understanding numbers from the market. So, and you all know this thing, like mobile is exploding, blah blah blah. There's more mobile phone, and I don't even talk about these anymore. Like population, blah blah. Very good example I gave was a few years back. This was an announcement that was made exactly the same day by Apple and Google, which was this: 50 billion apps have been downloaded on iTunes. On the same day, 50 billion apps have been downloaded on Google on Android Market. Google Play. And you're like, oh wow, well that's the same thing. 50 billion, 50 billion. But everyone forgets about that. Apple started much earlier. Apple had all the market share in the first place. And if you were to do the math, you were to realize on that particular week, on that particular month, that Apple was about half the downloaders of Google. But people are trying to sell you these black and white numbers all the time. You have to think for yourself. What is the greatness behind? What is the reality behind? And when you present your data to investors, present your data in next level way, that is the black and white way, so that they don't doubt you. But be ready for them to ask you about the gray bits and have an answer for that. Don't buy your own medicine. A good example I tend to give on that one, I'm going to skip a few, is this one. About why is it that everyone says you want to be in countries like Africa to sell stuff? To sell mobile services, etc. And the number one reason you want to be there is because until recently, people were buying email access per day. And they were actually, if you think about how much money they were paying based on their revenue, they were paying up to 25% of their revenue getting access to the internet. Because the internet here is commodity, over there internet is luxury. And I don't know if you realize, but when you buy a luxury item, the guy who makes the luxury item gets cheaper more money than if you go to a supermarket and buy flour. Yeah? So what do I want to be? I want to sell luxury. I don't want to sell luxury. So you can get numbers and understand them in very different ways from other people and be the winner at the back of this. It's getting hot, we're going to play a game. That's the last thing. We're playing a game. Yeah! And you're going to become more clever at the back of this. Now we're talking. Okay, exit. That's the last step. Everyone's like, hey, how do I exit? Roma or Lazio? Okay, Have you heard of logo quiz?
Yeah.
Who's a champion at logo quiz? You should play peak anyway, because logo quiz doesn't increase your brain power. But we're going to test you on that one. But logo quiz is a bit simple. You see a logo, you guess the name of the company. This is much more complex. I give you a logo, you tell me who they exited to. Okay?
Yeah.
Ready? Do we have a present for the winner? We have a mug for the winner, I'm sure. We have a mug for the winner. Ready? And a glass of wine in a mug. Which is twice the amount of wine. Now we're talking.
No, LinkedIn.
Magazine.
Oh, we have a winner.
Wine, because you said wine.
LinkedIn, that's the one. Who knows false?
Oh yeah, it's
False is the reason why my phone is vibrating right now. No, that's right. No, it's the reason why nowadays LinkedIn doesn't only annoy you with news about your friends, but it also annoys you about news of the world that you thought you had nothing to care about, but they believe that you are actually super interested in. And every day they send you more information about, oh, you maybe want to hear about this. And so that they become a platform of content because they realize that there was just not enough reason to go into LinkedIn. So they need more reason to get you there. So now it's the place where you go get your content. That's why they go pods. Oh, summary, alike, and jive. I'm going to help you with that one. That one was created by, I think it was 15, 16-year-old British guy. Was sold for, I think, 7 million. And he didn't know anything.
Was it somebody like
Yeah.
So to Google?
No, not far. Yeah, working, yeah. There's competition here.
Yeah.
No, but I remember. The two bearded guys. You two have to enter, and then you have a collection. Yeah, Yahoo. So Yahoo, same thing. After super content, one has seen more content on the platform, buy something. That one is super easy.
Wow.
It's too easy. Googling is forbidden. So I'm gonna give you a clue here on that one. These guys do a platform for developers to make it easy to write mobile apps and web apps and so on and so forth. Facebook, yes. Did I hear Facebook? I think I heard Facebook. But that wasn't from Google, was it? No. But you got to be it, so you must be a winner. So yeah, parts. Now we're getting, so the reason for this game is that everyone thinks about these big names. They're always like, yeah, I'm going to sell to Google, Facebook, or Yahoo. And outside of that, there's nothing. The reason is there's only that many companies that they are going to buy. And if you want to find an exit, you have to think carefully. And by the way, I don't know if you've heard of the Family. Family is like an accelerator in France that started to have this accelerator where people were living inside the accelerator. It was like a bit of a 1960s, the startup area kind of thing. And they managed to make money within a year of launching their accelerator. And the reason they managed to do that is they started selling all the shitty companies in their portfolio to the other one that had raised money and so on and so forth. Loads of very small exits, but in the end, they made money out of it. So you have to think really cleverly. This is what a good investor does. He thinks cleverly of where he's going to exit, whether it's going to be a panic exit or a good exit. But he always has someone to exit. That's what you should think about. This is public transport in New York. To help you find your way in public transport in New York. Who would invest in a company like this? Google. Nope.
It's a startup from Israel, right?
Nope. Nope.
Government.
Nope.
Uber?
Like you're totally in the wrong place. Like is BMW. Because BMW are making cars are going to become redundant, so they might as well be in transportation.
Yeah.
Is the famous. Who got these guys? Mastery do a platform to help you find out to build APIs. So if you have a company and you want to build APIs and you want to expose to developers, you want to have a platform to make it easy for you, you get Mastery in the system, and that's really good. Intel. They didn't fucking chipset. Where's the link? Well, Intel realized that if they didn't fucking chipset, no one actually knows what chipset they have anymore, and they become redundant. So if they want to be at the top of the chain in basically technology nowadays, they have to care about APIs. They have to link the APIs to chipset so that they can actually come back and make chipset important. This guy is a kind of friend of mine. He did an HTML5 gaming engine that never shipped because he got acquired before it was shipping. And he thought, oh, am I really going to sell now before shipping? I want to live a hard life and try to sell, etc. Or I'm just going to take the money. Disney. Why Disney? Because Disney have loads of games online. You've got children, but you can play on Disney for the entire life. You how many games they have. And the number one problem they have is to get enough games out there all the time to renew the stock and to spend as little money as possible in development. So that's why they introduced enough game framework. Tencent, App Store for Android and every single one.
Something.
Opera.
What?
No, Opera, the browser.
Opera is not favorite.
He managed to sell to them. He doesn't care anymore. Okay, Kafka. Have you heard of Kafka?
Yes, this is transportation.
No, Kafka is a fantastic app from originating in Germany. Who gets kind of you get this junk mail all the time in your mailbox, yeah, telling you what to buy in the supermarket next door that has a discount, etc. What they did is they take all this shit that arrives in your like normal mailbox, by the way, not the normal mailbox. They scanned it, they put that in an app, and they gave you the app. So rather than having to look through your mailbox for discount tickets, etc., you can go and say what's available around there. They make shitloads of money. Like, you're laughing about it, but this is like super successful business model. It's German. Even though they opened since in France, the UK, Netherlands. I mean, they have like huge amount of offices.
Maybe some supermarket chain or something.
They're getting there.
Lidl, Opera, Aldi.
Nope. Nope. No, they sold to, actually, I can tell you another story about Aldi, etc. But no, they managed to sell to one of the biggest publishers in Germany. That's the other guys, Axel Springer.
Yeah.
And you know, Axel Springer also recently put money in Fantastic. I don't know if you need to. So basically, their angle was, hey, nowadays we don't sell these jogging magazines to people anymore. Instead, we're going to sell them subscription to get access to their running data. That's a good angle. And that's my last one. Mobcast. This is now to the British company. Mobile books. Oh no, mobile music, sorry, mobile music. They also bought a mobile book company. That same company bought them and mobile books company.
Okay, some label.
No, a supermarket. Tesco. Because they were created at that time, the number one competitor was Amazon. And if my number one competitor is Amazon, I need to be able to sell books, music, apps online, and I have my own tablet. And that's what they did. They should love loads of the money. Loads of money was lost in the process, but that's, you don't care, you fix it. So the whole goal of this game was for you to think naturally about the kind of people you're going to have to sell to. And in your country, internationally, don't limit yourself to people here. Like, there's loads of people nowadays. Every single large corporate now has an innovation entity, like an investment entity, and they're trying to do new things. You're bringing the new ideas, making that most of it. Having my main takeaway for tonight. Think like an international company. First you get the money, then you bring the talent from all over the place, and then you deliver on time and fast your products. Simple as that. And you're going to be successful. Now, after the question, who loves money? Who wants to be successful? I think it correlates with the romance importance. Okay, thanks a lot.
I think let's keep talking for more than 1 hour before that. Let's have some break for the event. What I could allow just 2 more questions, then we will have it for dinner time. Any questions? Okay.
It's fantastic. So before morning event time another time. I don't know where it's in London. I bet it works here. Because I've been doing it for 1 year. It's very difficult to rise morning, middle, based on ideas. Everyone wants to see something with metrics. It depends on the person who's something, but how do you see it from a limited perspective that this market is 1 times more developed than here in Rome? If you have a good team or a good team of co-founder, you miss the right times when you still have a nice project. Let's say 20,000 euros. Or
my current company, the one that was Account, we raised 150K, and we had no line of code, and that's about it. Just because I did.
Do you think that this more because of the credibility? Because for example,
I think you as a person, I think this is where building a personal brand is involved. And also think that the people are less scared in the UK to spend money on trade. This is the beauty of SEIS. SEIS 150K allows you to actually, if you meet the right rich people and you persuade them that you're the great guy, you can actually get to that level pretty quickly. And that's 150K is a good amount to play with. But I would also say that if you're an incubator and accelerator here, they give you money. It's for you to decide how you're going to spend that money. And I think this is where you can be creative and don't necessarily think, hey, I'm going to spend my money within 6 months because I'm in the accelerator for 6 months. Or I need to spend in 3 months and try to get a product out as quickly as possible. I know the accelerators don't like me saying that. But in the end, they give you the money. You know, so you decide, you're the CEO. It's very diverting, so the idea is okay, who wants a beer? Yeah. Because there's no wine.
Now we go on with speeches from Team Working Capital. The event is the first one and is going to switch about heading. Thanks a lot. It's your
Wine?
PDF. C'era il telecomando qui. Aspetta, perché non è a schermo intero. Non so sinceramente se su PDF però c'è. Dovevi andare. Aspetta che hai fatto partire la musica.
It's too hot here. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lorenzo Judge, the CEO and co-founder of Pedis. But this Pedis is a phone service for deaf and hard of hearing. So we made this kind of magic, so let deaf people make phone call. Deafness is a problem widely diffused in the world. There are 70 million people around the world, 70,000 just in Italy. It's just a small distribution. Think about it. We born 1 every 1,000 deaf, but we became 1 every 1 every 10 people got hearing problem. All the stories start from my friend that was deaf and had an accident. He didn't have the possibility to call a tow truck and an ambulance. That's really impossible. With all the technology that we have, it's impossible to call an ambulance for if you have a hearing problem. So we developed Pedius as a new way to be accessible. There exists ramps for the steps. We did something that could be an auxilium for the phone access. Our app transforms a mobile chat as WhatsApp in a phone call with a normal landline phone. There is no app required on the other side. Only the deaf user can download the app for free and start the call. Conversation is look like a chat. So I'm typing a message and the voice will read my message. And in real time, all the sentence is converted to text. So I can read. Here's an example. How can I call a pharmacy or whatever? We also work with a company and to enable the call center. This is an example how the user can call and access a company call center. And we made our biggest success was the last September. We realized the first call center for deaf and hard of hearing people with Telecom Italia. This is the 187, and this is the customer care of Telecom Italia is accessible to deaf people through Pedis. So people can call for free as a toll-free number, but it's accessible even if you can't hear. That is starting to become from a startup. We started to become more a company thanks to agreement with a big partner at Telecom Italia, and we managed to obtain a seed round of 400,000 euro by Team Venture, is the corporate venture capital of Telecom Italia, and other 2 investment funds that doesn't invest for the first time in startups. So this is how things can change. We are trying to scaling and grow global. We are active now more or less in 10 countries, you can see. Next with Brazil, thanks also with partnership with Team Brazil. We have more than 5,000 users, and users are growing really fast, having 50% every month. So last month we ended with 3,000, almost 4,000 calls. This month we reached 6,000. So it's extremely fast growing. This is some number about user distribution in Italy. In UK, it's our 2nd country for usage of service. This is the next. Our roadmap is, of course, growing more countries, adding more countries, more features on the app. And in the end, the idea is to develop a project for work inclusion. So people with disabilities that work in a company need to make meeting, conference call, and we can add caption in this conference. That would be useful also for hearing people that doesn't know foreign language, so they can have captioning during live meeting. Yes, this one. So this is just an example how solving a problem with business logic, solving a social problem with the business logic is possible. And we are proud of that. We are representing in this with the social impact, social investment. And we are presenting this idea as one of the possibilities that technology has to improve the quality of life. Thank you. I don't know if there is question time. To read my question.
Yes. How it's different from a text-to-speech or speech-to-text software?
Yeah, it's voice recognition and text-to-speech is merged with phone line. So this is the power. So it's like the book lamp. You have the electricity, you have glass, you have tungsten, but putting all together is the idea. So voice recognition is already existed. There's a lot of research about it, but nobody put on the phone line and make a special version for phone line. So we have a special user experience use on the phone, the same technology that other use on mobile. So this is the more technical question is that we have a centralized logic that improve the quality. Otherwise, phone quality is not enough for standard text-to-speech.
Are you the first one in the world?
I'm not used to say yes, but yes, now there is another startup born my friends in Paris, I think they're moving in California, that's made a Kickstarter campaign on December called Russian Voice. And he said to do something similar, but we'll launch in a couple of months. We are happy to do that. I'm one of the states of the campaign because at the beginning when we start, the first investors say, there is no business in that area, not business with disabilities. And now we have a competitor, so now the market is getting bigger. So we are happy that it's definitely competition on solving social issues. But this is, I'm proud of that. Welcome.
Actually, you need a smartphone. You can use this technology with a normal phone, right?
Only the user needs smartphone. Yeah.
And everything for something for home.
Now we are developing, and we are going to present in the next few days. This is a device that for target is elder people. So people after 16 years old are not so practiced with the smartphone. So we have small devices that can be connected to TV, like a digital TV decoder. And you can make a phone call dialing with your TV, and you see caption, big signs, text, so you can read because the people are also sight problems. So we are going to present this one in the next 2 days. Other question? Okay, so I can go to pack my stuff because tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock I have a flight to San Francisco presenting the same, not the same presentation, but I will present to Google Venture our project that we got selected. So thank you, and I leave some business card if you want to write me any other question, or if you want to work with us. We are looking for engineers and sales.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Guys, second pitch in us.
Io my business card.
Anche tu, siccome hai il PDF?
Sì, anche la prima. Vabbè, la prima.
Hello everybody, my name is Simone Di Somma. I'm Managing Director of INAS, Innovation and Service. What we do is try to bring innovation in one sector, which is quite, it's a sector which is still, we would say, since a lot of time in information in the IT, which is the business intelligence. But business intelligence has some issues. It's not very good of govern modern data because data changes, you know, data are constantly evolving. So usual systems which are designed for stability, for information governance are not suitable for these kind of things. So we could say that each time that we have to take a decision, we find this kind of situation. For instance, imagine the usual business intelligence. You govern data, you import data in your data warehouse, then you have to access data to take decisions. Each time maybe you need a different metrics, you need something which has not been designed by your IT system. So what we do is technically, we take all the data and we extract information from the data. How? According to the business strategy. Each different company has a different business strategy. We take the business strategy of the company and we decide with our platform a way how to manage all this data in an integrated way so that we calculate KPI designed exactly in order to improve performance gain. and we expose those information through dashboards and APIs. I'm going to provide you a very straightforward example of this, because it looks very, abstract. I show you exactly a real case. What we have done for Telecom Italy, we have just said, nowadays, the usual football match collects a lot of information. We know exactly where the ball starts, all the stuff that happens on field, on the soccer field. This kind of data are not useful to make decision. People need information. Who is performing better? We take all those data, all the data of the soccer players, and we calculate, for instance, in real time, some performance metrics, and we expose these performance metrics on a public website which is called TeamState. This is just an example, because we believe that exactly like in industrial revolution, there is a data value chain. Data are at the bottom, at the very beginning of this value chain, while information stands on the right part, on the added value part. And we do that in real time. We analyze 10,000 measurements in real time, and we just extract information that matter. Who is playing better? This is an example from a real service which Telecom has created, starting from our platform, which shows in real time, this is a red line, which progress through the match, saying who is scoring better. And the important thing is that you can also understand in real time why, from the very synthetic, very summarized information of who is playing better, you can also understand on different dimensions why. For instance, in this case, the technique of Rome was, lower compared to the one of Naples soccer team. But you can apply this kind of information aggregator on very different contexts. For instance, we used this platform in order to evaluate the suppliers of one of the biggest manufacturing companies in Italy. We used this in order to understand what were the point of sales to choose for a retailer in order to push for a specific commercial campaign. And we have a lot of use cases. What we do as a business model, we provide this as a platform as a service. This is our proprietary platform, which calls Inas Data Platform, and we can build a lot of magical stuff. This is behind the hood, how it works, but we don't sell this to the customer. What we sell is just the added value of the information. So who is the supplier that you have to select? Who is the field force member which is performing better? Those are the information that creates value, and the customer is also willing to pay for it. And that's it. I don't know if there are any questions. I've been very fast.
How do you translate the business strategy of your customer into your platform?
Yeah.
I can imagine that the indicators can be very different. And how prepared to provide the right answers as the company is buying the service? How prepared do they have to be in order to use it? I'm thinking about Italy's mainly small and medium enterprises, not very many businesses. So how do you do that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I've been reading too much fast. This is a usual service setup. We have to define on the platform entities that we want to evaluate. Some of the instances, the examples that are already listed are a good example. Then we define the measures. So the measures of the data that we can collect, that we can import in the platform. The second part, so the first one is definition. The second one is the modeling. We created a system which used as a modeling tool the metrology, the science of measuring things, in order to create consistent KPI through the whole product. So we import all the different data as measures, and then we can create very complex KPI. For instance, for the soccer player one, we compare 200 basic measures in real time to say if a player is playing good or bad. 200 in real time for each player. We do this also using models that are not only linear, but also quite complex. So for instance, we can use some predictive or non-linear model for some much more specific use case. We could say that we have a suitcase for some industries, for the soccer, of course, for the retail, for the fraud, for some specific vertical sectors. For some specific industry we don't have, and we are developing. For instance, we are working with a healthcare company because they would like to find, starting from measurement of their patients, some indicators about their quality of life. So for some industry, we are working this, some models. For others, we already have a toolkit of models and some algorithms in order to do that. But we could say from a platform structure, this is the background.
I have one more question, sorry.
It's much more interactive. It's better, yeah.
I was thinking about it. Do you collect, do you help them collect the data as well, or do you work on providing data?
Yeah,
How is the interaction?
our business model relies also on the exchange of data. For instance, for some of our customers, we also provide data providers with helpful information. This is part of our business model because we can also have some brokerage fees. For instance, also Telecom Italia, we brought some data providers of specific data. So this is the first one. The second thing I can say that the majority of our companies, of the companies that we work with, are full of very important and valuable data. Also in Telecom Italia, we've done another kind of projects, or we could say a data valuation process and projects. So starting from data that they think are not valuable, we just analyze it and showed them that with some good algorithms and analysis, those data were very, very, very relevant, and also a source of business opportunity if they sell those data maybe with just some arrangement. I cannot say much because some projects are quite secretive, but I can say that the value that we can extract also by the data of our customers are very high, very, very high. Okay, so thank you very much.
Last bit?
Yep.
Dov'è? Se la trovo. Okay. Hello, I'm Simone Velas, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ospite. This is not an ISIS tanker, this is not the yard of the Expo Milan 2015. This is what happened more than 1 year ago in San Diego, when a telephone company broke a gas pipeline, causing setting a fever network. This is what happened one day when six persons severely injured and a lot of houses destroyed. Why this happened? This happened because this is the center of Rome. This happened because in the last 35 years, the underground of our city was used to, for all the kind of networks that now are fundamental for our life. So imagine just not only telecommunication, but also gas pipeline, electric, the monitoring of traffic, the monitoring and management of all the smart grids that actually are in our cities. This is fortunately what just usually happens in our cities. It is what usually happens, what usually is seen by us, fortunately. There is a solution for this problem, yes. The solution is ARNet. What does ARNet do? ARNet allows the operators on the yard to see exactly where and where are located all the assets underground around the operators. So, for example, this is a screenshot of our app taken here in India Trastevere. These are the augmentation of information with people. This is a file used for the monitoring of the FTTC networks in Telecom Italia, fiber to the cabinet, where each operator when you, for example, don't have a connection at home, you can call the customer care, and if they told you that an operator has to work exactly physically on the lines, most of the times they don't know exactly where your line is connected to the network. So we help the operator to see exactly where have to operate. These are some screenshots. So for example, the operator, here you can see that we are actually also on user connects for 2015. And for example, the operators need to work on this cabinet, and he can see in augmented reality the cabinet, the information related, the details, can call his supervisor for any help, and can see a picture of the details. Also, Arnet could use back office for the scheduling of the operations. So, for example, the customer care can see directly in which cabinet is the problem, seeing the map, or search, starting from your address, and see which your address to which cabinet is connected, or search, or do a search for a range of distance. So, what are the advantages of our product? First, that we can integrate in any kind of database of the company. It's not only telecommunication, but every company that has the management of a smart grid. We can reduce the accident and harm in the yard, because in the next release of the software, we can also manage line feature. Actually, we work just on point features. So, for example, BTS for the mobile telecommunication networks, or cabinets, or public illumination, and we can reduce the response time, because usually when an operation is set, it needs usually between 60-70 minutes. We can drop this lack of time in 20-30 minutes needed. So we have also a reduction of the cost, and also is connected to an increase of efficiency of the company. What does our competitor do? Because we have fortunately some competitor. The first thing is that our competitor use big tablets connected to external GPS antenna and big battery packages. We can run our software on a normal smartphone. So for a company, it's really useful to bring this on a device. We are cross-platform because we run on Android and iOS. We are just plug and play because we can work on two ways. We can have a standalone version with all the maps inside the application, or we can download it from our servers. The training time is really low. So in some cases, it's less than 15 minutes. And the advantage is also that the application could be remotely updated. We are also working on the Virgo Registry. What is the Virgo Registry? The Virgo Registry is the European underground assets, the underground database of, it's the real European database of underground assets. So before 2020, every European country is obliged to put on a cloud server of the United Nations, European Union, all the networks, all the maps of the networks, and this map needs to be accessed by API from a validated company. Italy and Romania from this year are starting this project, and next to the other countries. The team, okay, it's me and my CTO Reza. Just some words on our milestones. We started this project in March. We entered into working capital acceleration program in July, and we released an alpha version in October. We are from January, but theoretically from November in the closed beta with Telecom Italia, and we will go on market in next semester. That's all. Any question? No one is here.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your excellent Thanks a lot again to you all.
A nessuno interessa di più. A nessuno interessa di più.
È utile perché c'è da passare.
Educational highlights on who's